Hey, there we go. All right. Good evening, everybody. Dadman Walking 55 here, coming to you from the East Coast of the U.S. And all right, as I'm playing around with StreamYards, getting this thing back up and set, hope you're doing good on an odd night for us on a Tuesday night. Um, you know, things moving around. Big week coming up this next week. So on personal front, so things have been bumping around, reshuffling, all kinds of stuff. So hey, we get football when we get it. We squeeze it in as we can. So just wanted to make sure we hit on the games from the last week and look forward to this week's action in the Southeastern Conference. Let me go ahead and tweet the stream out real quick. Hey, buddy, good to see you. How are you tonight? Definitely football. So hey, bear with me 1 second because I cannot talk and type. Let's see. Let's say see ball talk. All right. Hey, I tell you what though, on Thursdays and Wednesdays, whenever we do on the week, we focus on the Southeastern Conference because that's what I follow. That's the conference I'm most familiar with and watch most of the games. I will always contend the best conference of football in America, even though JT Kirk loves his Big Ten. Uh, I'm appreciative of West Coast football. There's some good teams out on the West Coast, especially some high flying offenses, but I'm definitely SEC homer. I'll still claim the Florida Gators, even though I'm still definitely not happy. We will talk more about that as that goes along, as things have developed. But on Saturday nights at 8, I usually do a scoreboard show, so hope you can join us for that. Sometimes JT Kirk's able to join on with me. On that show, we look at scores from all around the country, and there is news around the country and different things. So we definitely have big news from Florida State. Maybe we'll talk on Saturday. But hey, and Southern Belle, hello. Tennessee plays Georgia and Georgia, ugh. Well, listen, Southern Belle, I plan to say a few things about that later. Hopefully, if you don't catch me all tonight, you can hear on the replay. But you missed it on Saturday night if you were not lurking. I hope you will not get upset with this, but I have declared that for the rest of this year, my team is the Tennessee Volunteers. I am going with Tennessee to win the SEC. I want them to win the SEC and the national title. I could never cheer for Georgia in spite of family pressure, and they've been around too much. I mean, I'm like, go Rocky Top. They deserve it. Great fan base. So good to see you tonight. Yeah, buddy, that's about what all they're good for today, these days. And actually, I'll say it right now, Billy Napier is safe. Yes, he is. I'll still rant from time to time about that situation because I can't help it, but I won't bore y'all with all the nonstop ramblings unless I feel good for a good tirade and y'all want to hear one. Scott Strickland, the athletic director, said that he is safe for this year, and with inference that he'll be around next year. In a 16-team league, let's march further into irrelevance. But there are some structural things at the University of Florida going on. They don't have a president. There's an interim president. There's all this stuff about interim presidents don't like to make decisions like that because they want the new president to come in to hire, to have their people they want. One of the definite pressures of the fan base in Florida is don't end with the football coach. Clean out the athletic director, clean out the whole athletic department and start over and get some real coaching in there. So, ESPN was debating whether Georgia should even be a top 12 team, laying the groundwork. Well, honestly, though, and see Southern, if I hope Southern hears this, I think Tennessee has a better shot than most years going to Georgia this year. It's always tough to play in Athens, but I think Tennessee. The one key to that game that gives me some confidence with Tennessee, whether it's Gaston Moore or Nico, Dylan Sampson, the running back. Tennessee has developed a very solid running game behind him. And running games usually help carry you through on these road games. And hello, Snorta Poopas Kuber, how are you tonight? Good to see you. Yes. Yeah, buddy, JT would love that discussion because he really he Alabama. Can we say a team that's done nothing but live on their reputation this year? Yes. Oh wow, yes, big orange. And hey, JT said it too, Southern Belle. I, I like orange. Okay, all right. It's a different kind of orange, but we will definitely go. And honestly, a lot of it is a respect to the Tennessee fan base. They've been long suffering fans. They deserve some success. They love their sports. I still love it when they took the goalpost after beating Bama and marched it and threw it in the Tennessee River. Plus, also, JT will tell you I've gotten used to singing Rocky Top on karaoke, so it's kind of, I don't know. Why fight it at this point? But hey, folks, thanks y'all for y'all being here today. Appreciate y'all here. Make sure you hit that like button, share out the stream, hit subscribe button if you have not. Looking back at last week's games, we had we were still in the got a lot of conference matchups this week. Last week we had 6 games. Really, not a lot of good games overall. Really, in terms of the final scoreboards. Our Cinderella case of Vanderbilt has the home game against the Gamecocks and promptly loses 28-7. I will tell you that is an amazing thing to see. At least Vanderbilt got there. Yeah, JT, there you go. At least Vanderbilt got its 6 wins to be eligible for a bowl game this year, while Florida is still 4-5. Well, I guess Florida probably, even with the Yale quarterback, could beat FSU, but not likely. Well, last week, let's kick the tires on this game because of where Vanderbilt's kind of one of those teams like the missus have picked up because she's always cheered for him over the years, and it's a fun thing to do. I just gotta give me 1 second on my Twitch side. I just realized I do not have the emote only off. I need to fix that real quick. So, and feel free if you have any comments about last week's games, feel free to share them. And we talk about this week's game. Feel free to, have fun with us and share your thoughts with it. Let's see. There we go. Okay, here we go. We got, and of course, I'm not using my normal graphics this week because it has been crazy life this week. I did not have time to update them to the pre-formats the missus made for me. But as we'll take art from ESPN because they're the best graphics that I'm used to. Once again, Vanderbilt loses at home to the Gamecocks. It was a slugfest, really scoring only 7 points for the Gamecocks in the first half. All the points really in the second half, but Diego Pavia was threw for 166 yards, but was held to 65 yards running. South Carolina, I tell you, Lenore Sellers, look for him in the next few years, how he has developed as a passer. Doesn't throw it a lot, but he's been very effective. 14 of 20, 238, 2 touchdowns on the day. Raheem Sanders, the transfer from Arkansas, 15 carries for 126 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day. So, and he also had 2 catches with a touchdown. So, big day for South Carolina. South Carolina is definitely one of your Jekyll and Hyde teams that when they're good, they're good. When they're bad, they're bad. So, really a frustrating team that if you looked at the way their season has gone, they are now at 6-3. A 3-point loss at home to LSU where they had the lead for most of the game. They fell behind on the road out to Alabama just a little too much, but did not get the 2-point conversion. Plus, they recovered onside kick and incompetent clock management at the end and panic fire. But really, other than that, South Carolina could actually be 8-1 right now, believe it or not. So go cocky, as they say there. I'm not making that up. So, yeah. See, folks, JT Kirk. If you like to hear anti-Alabama, JT Kirk. It's Michigan, Notre Dame, and Alabama. So. And buddy, yeah, it's funny how Miami dropped to 12th. Yeah, they I believe Miami is a very good team. I don't think Miami deserved to fall that far, even though they lost to an unranked Georgia Tech team. But Georgia Tech's been pretty good this year. So let's take a look at Vanderbilt for them going up the rest of the season. Basically, they have only 2 games left. They host LSU in 2 weeks, and then they're on the road at LSU in 2 weeks, and then they get to host Rocky Top, Tennessee, on Thanksgiving weekend. So hey, it's yeah, buddy. Yeah, they still be in the top 12 with that. All right, so really, in terms of this game, it was close at the half, dominated by the Gamecocks second half. And let's see if there's anything in the game. Carolina racked up 452 yards of total offense to Vanderbilt's 274. Time of possession was even. Like I said, watch for Lenora Sellers to become one of the better quarterbacks in the league in the next few years. He's, start off as mostly running, throwing very little, but he's actually learned. And I've watched him play too. He's made some very good throws, which has really been impressive. So, all right. So that's our first game, South Carolina and Vanderbilt. We're going to get back now. We're going to take a look at, let's see, as I'm waiting for the screens to get back. All right. So we'll get back to the SEC. Let's see. Tonight we got this. All right. Oh, picked the wrong week to quit smoking. Just kidding. I thought you were going to say a sub 500 Bama would usually be in the top 12. But all right, so let's. Oh man, if we got a few Bama fans out there, wait till they show up. All right, let's see. Where do we want to go with this one? Let's go to the game of the week last week, which was Ole Miss and Georgia. Georgia went on the road to Oxford, Mississippi, taking on Lane Kiffin. Listen, people of Mississippi, okay? I know, I don't know if it's a joke about it. Maybe reading might be something, but the game is not over until the clock says 0, 0, 0 or 0:00. That's when the game is over, and that's when you can charge the field. I love storming the field, but wait till the game's over. Not that it made a big deal. They should have just blown the play just quit the game, because all Ole Miss had to do was take a knee at that point. But Georgia loses again, 28-10, for their second loss. It's the first loss to not Alabama in many seasons for the Georgia Bulldogs. They dropped 7-2, 5-2 in the conference. Ole Miss keeps its SEC playoff hunt alive, moving up to 8-2, 4-2 in the conference. Yeah, you guys out there are funny. This was a really bizarre game too. It started off Ole Miss. It was very wet that day. First possession of the game, Ole Miss was first forced to a 3rd and long. Jackson Dart gets hurt on the play before goes out of the game with a knee injury. But on his pass on 3rd down, he overshot his receiver, picked up by Georgia. Okay, Georgia did not even attempt to pass. They ran the ball every play, ran in for a touchdown, take a 7-0 lead. Ole Miss brings in a backup quarterback. This is one of those stories that I tell you, Billy Napier could learn a little bit from at Florida. Don't stick your backup quarterback in. I don't care if he's 3rd or 4th ranked screen. Don't stick him in a game and put him behind the sticks with running all the time. Sometimes you got to throw it. Austin Simmons came in to replace Jackson Dart on the second drive of the game. Georgia took up 7-0. Austin Simmons moves Ole Miss down, ties the game up in the next drive. Goes 5 of 6, 64 yards. You almost wondered why they put Jackson Dart back in, but competitors starting jobs, they're not going to leave willingly. But hey, credit Jackson Dart for coming back. But Austin Simmons, they had very bad field position, moved the Ole Miss down to get on the scoreboard. Ole Miss moves out to a 16-7 lead at half. Then really the game just bogged down. It was as bad as the weather conditions were in the second half. Really just the screen that we got here. They really trading field goals. And let's see. Let's see. Trying to find the screen I'm looking for here. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah. Uh, well, Ole Miss gets one touchdown in the third quarter. Antoine Twell's pass from Jackson Dart. Georgia's only score in the second half was a field goal by Peyton Woodring from 23 yards. Two field goals for Ole Miss in the fourth quarter. Final margin 28-10. We'll look at the overall stats as we get through a couple of these games looking into next week. Some teams are still alive, some teams are not. Very, very good chances that the SEC championship could involve teams with the letter T in their name to begin with. So that really a disappointing game, a type of number 3, number 16 matchup. This was the potential SEC championship game I predicted at the beginning of the year. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Maybe one of the two teams could make the SEC championship game, but they are both going to need some help if they're going to do that. So, yeah, old piss, yes. Only one. You guys and your Alabama hate out there. All right, I know people love it. I tell you, Tennessee fans, I know Southern Belle has to love hearing y'all pick on Alabama because Tennessee does not like Alabama. Go figure. Speaking of that, let's talk about Tennessee and Mississippi State. There's not a lot to say in this game. A fairly easy win for Tennessee this game. The best name of the Southeastern Conference, and I'm telling you, one of the reasons why I'm decided to listen, I thought I would never say I'd cheer for Tennessee ever, and I've got relatives mad at me now, but I can't help it. You know me. You know the Squirrel Stream late nights, right? 2 years ago when I first started the show, we fell in love with one of the Tennessee players around here, the Misses, and now we're the channel, safe haven for squirrels everywhere with our Squirrel Streams. Squirrel White, the junior wide receiver for Tennessee, opened the score in this game with a 34-yard reception from Nico to take the 7-0 lead. What is significant of this game, Tennessee ran up 452 yards of offense, 271 for Mississippi State, 25-15 in first downs for Tennessee. And Tennessee held the ball for 9 more minutes than Mississippi State. What was very obvious, and it's a tribute to Tennessee and playing in Knoxville. Even the announcers were talking about Michael Van Buren, the true freshman quarterback for Mississippi State, who's gone on the road and had some good performances, was deer in headlights in Knoxville. They could tell he was rattled, was not comfortable the whole game, and that's what happens. Yes, squirrel, exactly. I agree, JT. A lot of Tennessee fans don't think so because I know they're not happy. They're really wanting the 40, 50-point offenses. Scores a game, but I agree. I mean, I've been subjected to so much bad football that and I tell you, Tennessee really, especially on the defense, and that's been one of the problems in recent years, is the defense. But their defensive line is very dominating. Just imagine if they had not lost the middle linebacker Peely against Florida, this defense would be even tougher. And yes, we are squirrels here. Yes. Nico played most through the first half. Gaston Moore, the senior transfer from UCF, came into the game. Never do that, buddy. Never do that. He came in the game. Matt Gaston Moore was 5 of 8 in the second half for only 38 yards, but he does have a good arm. It will be interesting to see what happens this week. Dylan Sampson carried the ball 30 times. Wow. That's a lot of 5 yards to carry for 149 yards and a touchdown. And we'll talk more about that as we talk about the matchup coming up. Dante Thornton Jr. for Tennessee had 3 catches for 104 yards, a touchdown on the day. So, you know, it's they did their job at home. Nico was 8 of 13, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns. Looked very impressive early. Till he left the game with an upper body injury. They reported the talk this week, though, as it's been concussion. Now, there's been a lot of games and playing around with that, as there are. He's listed as probable for the game this week, but we will see. Talk more about that matchup with Georgia coming up. Crap. Yeah. We're not even going to talk Alabama LSU, folks, because if Burgu was here, I would. But this was one of those route games that was boring. Why the heck did they put this game on? Well, you know what? I will show it for a couple reasons. Why the hell does Alabama or LSU get every night game? On paper, this game should have been closer than this. It should have been a competitive game. Will the LSU fans now start putting the heat up on Brian Kelly now that they're pretty well eliminated from national contenders, national championship, and everything else with a third loss? But the reason why I highlight this game is not really to worry about the stats and the numbers in this game. Although Jalen Milroe finally got himself back together running for a career high 185 yards, had 4 touchdowns. He'd been struggling recently. No, what I want to highlight this is our friend Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss has been on the warpath lately about Ole Miss not getting night games or the 3:30 games, that they're always playing at noon specifically, which is an 11 a.m. start time in the Central Time Zone. They specifically that Ole Miss was hosting Georgia. Ole Miss has played so many day games; they will not have had a night game like this. It's a frustration from the coaching standpoint. What do you think? If you're familiar with the situation, what do you think with it? I mean, a lot of people would chalk it up to Lane Kiffin crying again, but it is crazy. I mean, when you talk about those noon games, and I hate the noon games when Florida plays in the Eastern Time Zone, but it's 12 o'clock at least. In the Central Time Zone, you're playing at 11. And I think a couple of years ago, some of the Pac-12 or some of the West Coast games were starting at 9 or 10 a.m. Eastern in the morning, which was really bizarre. You know, you got to allow people to sleep late on Saturday morning a little bit. But perfume Brian Smelly. Yeah, yep, I know. I guess LSU would be a team you hate too because of Brian Smelly there. Garrett Neismeyer throws 2 more interceptions in this game for LSU. They fell way behind. Alabama led 21-6 at the half. So this game was not what it was supposed to be, not as advertised. But then again, it goes to the debate of how much preference does Alabama get over everybody else. I actually thought that Kiffin's comments should be directed more at Alabama than it was at Texas A&M, because Texas A&M is still in the lead of the SEC. So you can understand why the networks would want the leading teams, but Alabama that's barely on the edge, well, relegate them to ESPN. I don't know. What do you think? All right. Okay, 2 other games. Can somebody tell me what happened to Oklahoma? What has happened to Oklahoma? One of the greatest college programs ever in history. They go on the road, play Missouri. I've seen crazy ways to lose games. This game was ugly. Oklahoma had a 9-3 lead. Again, no offense for Oklahoma. Once again, 3 field goals in the second quarter, field goal for Missouri in the second quarter. That was it. Missouri is down to its backup quarterback, Drew Pine, due to injury to Brady Cook. So I know I'm groaning with this game because this, again, Missouri, just not one of the teams I ever wanted in the Southeastern Conference. But here comes Oklahoma in. They get 23 points in this game. They actually take the lead back on a Taylor Tatum throws to Jackson on the quarterback. A little trickery. And the fourth quarter tied up at 16. Then Oklahoma, this was the most darned inning that I saw in the game, because you'll see what I said in a second. At the 2-minute warning, Billy Bowman for Oklahoma picks up a fumble and returns it 43 yards for a touchdown. So Oklahoma has a 23-16 lead. Missouri, with the backup quarterback, goes down with a minute 3 left in the game. They 8-play 75-yard drive in 57 seconds. They end up tying up the game with a 10-yard pass from Drew Pine to Theo Weiss. Okay. I turned the channel over with a minute left saying, okay, this is going to overtime because I had another game I was checking out. Or it may have been on the scoreboard stream too. And no sooner did I turn the channel back, I'm like, Missouri's kicking another extra point. Wait, what happened? Did I miss the game? Did streaming kick back or whatever? No, it didn't. With 22 seconds left in the game, Zion Young picked up an Oklahoma fumble, ran it 17 yards for a touchdown. Missouri beats Oklahoma 30-23. That goes to my point. What has happened to the great Oklahoma? Yeah, it's crazy. So, and Buddy says about the East Coast games have been early AM here, makes a big difference in play. It does. I mean, y'all got to come 3 hours. You lose the 3 hours with the time change and then back and forth. That's always been a talk about in NFL, like when the Jaguars go west. I know JT's talked about it with the NFL with the Lions when they go west. Which makes it so odd having these conferences that span coast to coast. So, yeah. Oklahoma collapsed as a program like Nebraska did. Smaller fish in a bigger pond. Yeah, because you remember the old Southwest Conference. Pretty much it was Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Texas, the three of them, and kicked everybody around. Occasionally Arkansas would be a little. They are getting the boom instead of dropping it. Boomer Skinner, yeah. Hey, B from O, welcome. Good to see you tonight. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you being here. We're going to be talking some Auburn in just a few minutes. Good to see our resident Auburn fan here tonight. All right, so I've delayed it long enough. Probably the game y'all do want me to hear me rant about, but at some point you just give up. It's like they say with Star Wars. You get mad, you get angry. The worst thing is that fan bases can be apathetic, and I've hit apathy, if not downright sarcasm, with the Florida Gators. I mean, come on, Granted, I understand there are injuries to the two quarterbacks, but I have said since the first season Billy Napier didn't fit, should be fired. After not getting embarrassed at home to Miami, and then 2 weeks later by Texas A&M to a freshman that came in, made you look like chumps on your own home field with all your starters and being healthy. Then you go to Tennessee, a game you should have won easily. But Tennessee begged you to take the game. And it wasn't all the players' faults. Yeah, they fumbled sometimes, but Napier sent a man on the field that ruined a field goal in the first half. Discipline issues, like in terms of good play issues, but hey, like I said, he's safe. Yay. All right. And they had said that 70% of Florida's NIL money is tied up in freshmen and sophomores. And all I can say is I want my money back. Well, of course, I didn't pay into it. It's like, what the hell are they getting with it? I mean, if you got that much money and great players and stuff, I don't care the number of injuries. This time of year, everybody is hurt. Everybody's had to play through injuries, And the fact that with Gator fans, I think a lot of the Gator fans, they want to rally to defend their team and ignore the blunt truth. This guy sucks, should not be there. But they it's funny how a few weeks change. And the attitudes change with that. So people are a lot. Yes, there are injuries. But I'm consistent from where I was before the injuries. I still say a problem illustrated when in the Georgia game, a game they could have won, and even were tied with the third stringer and the quarterback. But Napier kept putting that kid in bad, long and down distance instead of letting him throw early. And Lagway had only attempted 6 passes in a quarter and a half, and only one of them went downfield, and that was for a touchdown. But hey, let's say hell to another of our great Auburn fans here, small time Republic. Hey. Yes, I know, dude. I know. We'll probably talk about that a little bit on Saturday night on my scoreboard show. with JT. Yeah. What a world! You had me just at SMU first in the ACC, BYU in the Big 12. Oh God, I didn't even realize that one. Texas first in the SEC, and I guess BYU Utah had a fun ending last week. So, and Oregon in the Big 10. Yeah. Hey, we got to ask JT what he thinks. You got Oregon, a former Pac-10 team or Pac-12 team that they only played the Big 10 in the Rose Bowl, and now your Pac-12 rivals come over, and now they run your conference. JT, got to feel good. So that's what I've been hearing too. And I mentioned that earlier. Small Town Republic, they will get an 8-8. But that's the other question. There are a lot of people on the ground calling for the AD and everybody, because this will be his third main hire. He's already had 3 main hires already. I will not go into this detail because there are rumors and murmurings around the basketball program and allegations that have been made. And that's all that they stand at right now, and that's where I'll believe it. There's a lot of turmoil in the athletic department these days in Gainesville. And it goes back to what I said. They're becoming more irrelevant with a 16-team SEC. Yeah. Oh, God. Another one of JT Kirk's wonderful favorite teams, the Ohio State University cheating. Yeah, I know. But hey, all right. I did great. I went on a wild tangent with that one. I said, look, I'm going, like I said, I think the sarcasm and apathy's coming out, but Florida goes on the road 35-0 trailing at halftime. I did have the game on a little bit, and then Florida looked good. My kid actually messaged me, and Florida's defense looked decent early in the game, but then talent took over. Just Quinn Ewers got healthy, 19 of 27, 333 yards, 5 touchdowns on the day. It just was a one-sided affair. You knew it was coming. It was just once Jarrett Gibson had 100 yards running for Ole Miss. There was some good play from the running backs for Florida. They had 2 backs over 100 yards, but I'm telling you, Billy Napier's offense will not win consistently in the SEC with what he wants to do. And if he wants to be run dominated, I'll be honest, I think Lagway should transfer or go somewhere else. If I was him, because to me, Lagway has got the arm and the talent. He needs to throw the ball more. Imagine if he went up to the University of Georgia, put him in a pro under Kirby Smart with that offense, where they focus on throwing. Just saying, you know. Oh, hey, Mrs. Dadman. Hey, welcome. Yes, and I will tell you, she really has been a rock star for me this year. We've actually gotten to watch some games this year. Yay! And I guess she makes me happy with it. So, hey, good to see you. Of course, she will cheer for Georgia, but that's okay. Football. Well, I'm here to make it fun, Fallout Dave, especially when I go on a rant again. So, again, you know, the Alabama transfer, Isaiah Bond caught a 34-yard pass from Quinn Ewers. Actually, Texas went up 42-0 in this game before Florida finally kicked a field goal. Florida got massed 329 yards of total offense, 3 turnovers. Imagine they had 20 first downs and controlled the ball 32 minutes. Texas had 562 yards, 23 first downs. It's still just one-way dominant. Just, you know, as a Gator fan, it's just played for next year. You know, it's just everything's over pretty much for this year for the Gators. Now for Texas, their future's ahead and bright for them. We will look to see what they have coming up. I don't know. Of course, the whole Lane Kiffin thing in Florida, yeah, that probably will die. Yes, I agree, Fallout Dave. That is really true. And as a reminder, what Small Town Republic had said is that's the common thinking that once they get a full-time regular president there, then they'll make decisions. And that's what I've heard a lot of experts say is that the people that take the interim president jobs don't want to make decisions that affect the university for years down the road. Meaning they're not going to fire the athletic director. They're not going to fire the football coach, short of something illegal or something happening. Wow, we got 11 people watching tonight. Hey, thank y'all. Hey, feel free to chat. If you like any of these teams, shout something out. Anything you want to talk about, we'll try to hit it. But thank y'all being here. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We're back up to 661 subscribers. Yay! We'll get there. Looking at this, coming up for Texas, they're on the road at Arkansas. They have Kentucky at home, and they have the renewal of the classic Thanksgiving weekend rivalry between Texas and Texas A&M. They'll be in College Station for that one. That will be fun, and I think I'm going to watch that game because that's a very traditional matchup on the. There are two games that you watch. I mean, I watch Florida State, but honestly, it's really regional for Florida and Florida State, and those teams are so damn bad this year, both of them. I mean, I thought Florida was bad. FSU's like, here, hold my beer. You ought to see my relatives that are Florida State fans. And we got some other. I actually have one Seminole fan that loves putting a meme out there about Meanwhile in Gainesville. And it's like a redneck throwing a chair at a mobile home. He started to do it against his own team. So, all right. So that's the action for last week, guys. Oh, boy. Let's take a look and see where the standings go in the Southeastern Conference before we look at the games this week. If y'all have any other thoughts or questions, you can feel free to share them right now. We'll take them. And all right, here we go. But thank you, everybody, for being here. Let me see if I can make this larger. There we go. Let's try this. All right. Ta-da. All right. There you go, Tennessee. You're on top of the because of alphabet. Tennessee is on top. Well, they're higher ranked than Texas A&M, and they come earlier in alphabet than Texas A&M. Texas has 3 conference games left, so they're half game behind both of those. But we have the 3 teams with 1 loss. Tennessee, who plays at Georgia this week, a very critical game. Georgia, if they want to have a chance to make it to Atlanta, have to win out, really. This will be the last conference game for Georgia. They are, see, that should be theirs. So they got 7, they'd be 8. So they have 2 non-conference games. Of course, they end with Georgia Tech, but I believe they play Tennessee Tech or something, I think, the next week after this game. But you got Georgia, Ole Miss, and Alabama and Missouri and LSU with 2 losses. But a lot of these teams will get their 3rd loss this weekend. But it's probably really between Texas A&M, Tennessee, Georgia, and I hate to say it, JT, Alabama. Ole Miss could because of their head-to-head win over Georgia, but they have 2 more conference games to go. Will Lane Kiffin win out? You don't know. Okay, I did. All naturally. All right, so there's the conference standings right now. So that will take us into this week's games. Oh, boy. You guys are too funny. All right, as we get the screen going back again. All right, let's take a look at this and what we got this week. All right, looking down at the games as they go in order this week. First matchup of the week is an ABC 12 o'clock game. Of course, obviously an 11 o'clock local start for Texas and Arkansas. Number 3 ranked Longhorns go on to play on the road at the Pigs. So let's see. Pulling up this one's just real quick. Yeah. This game, Arkansas has been a bit up and down this year, but they've actually had success this year at times. When they've been good, they've been able to win some of the games. Fairly surprising. Arkansas has done a lot better this year than I thought that they would. So we shall see what will happen with that. Let's see. I'm trying to pull up some other information here. We can. Let's see. Of course, important with Texas, though, is that they seem to have settled down on the quarterback situation after last week. There are some rumblings with Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning, controversy at quarterback, considering the move. Arch had to start a few games when Ewers was hurt, and then he was put in the Georgia game, and and only had a drive or two, didn't do much. In this series, though, this series is one that dates back to the old Southwest Conference. Texas leads at 56-23. The largest margin of victory was 1894, where Texas beat Arkansas 54-0, and the longest win streak was Texas from 1894 to 1932. So they won the first 14 games. Arkansas's largest margin of victory over Texas 42-6 in 1938, and their longest win streak ended in 1938 from 1935 to 1938. It's interesting to see what happens in recent years. Though they have not played every year. Obviously, being just now moving back into the same conference. That let's see, we got here. So they got, let's see. Actually, I'm going to do this. Actually, I'm going to do something real quick here. Take it. Oh, wrong screen. Actually, I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to do it like this, folks. Give me 1 second. So, but yeah, you'll enjoy what I'm trying to set up here. So, all right. Sorry about this. Like I said, I don't have my normal wonderful graphics that Mrs. created for me because it's been a crazy life week, the last couple of weeks working out of town. And of course, with actually next week is going to be a very, very busy week. Next Thursday night, I may be doing my final stream from the remote base. So things are progressing, and let's see. Yeah. On that front. So it's going to be a busy week too. So we do things as we can do it. But here, this is what I'll show you. It's called winspedia.com. It's got great information here with a series of the history of these series, and you can look it up on all your matchups. Arkansas has won the last 2 games here, and of course, if you go out, we can see the trends. Of course, they met in the Texas Bowl back in 2014, but there's been no real streaks in this series. We often see in rivalry games, and even though this is one that's just now coming back, with not necessarily a rivalry game, but historically it was a rival, because if you look back into 1991 when the Southwest Conference still existed, before Arkansas joined the SEC, these teams played every year, and you can see Texas won so many during this time. So let's see, and the first game was in 1894, as we said earlier, folks. So really interesting to see the history. This is one of my favorite websites to look at here for games. But that's the history. That's the background information on this game. I'm going to take a look at these. You're looking at the two teams. Number 3, Texas comes in healthy off of winning over Florida. Arkansas has played well lately. This could be a tough game, folks. This could be a tougher game for Texas than they may realize. Sam Pittman turned the team around this year. They are close to being bowl eligible. One more win. They did beat Tennessee at home. They beat Auburn. They did lose to Ole Miss and LSU going away. So, but I still think with Arkansas playing at home, this game could be a nail biter. I think an dark horse outside shot, Arkansas could pull off the win over Texas, but I'm going to go with Texas in this game. Quinn Ewers looks like he got hot again. He got out of the funk that he had been playing in for several weeks. All right. So then, and guys, if y'all have any thoughts, predictions on these games, feel free to share them with me. I appreciate it. For our Auburn fans, be from a small time Republic, we got Louisiana Monroe is at Auburn at 12:45 on the South Eastern Conference Network. This UL Monroe is turned around for the last few years. Have been one of the worst programs in the country. Is now 5-4 this year. Could make a bowl game. Traveling to the Plains and to Jordan-Hare Stadium to play the Tigers. Auburn, another team that seems to be snake bit, find ways to lose games in weird fashions. And Auburn's a team that, They lost four in a row. Arkansas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and Missouri. A couple of those were close games. Then they lost at home to Vanderbilt. Of course, they win at Kentucky, which Kentucky has struggled all year. Aye. So this is probably a game Auburn fans don't like. This Texas big Auburn wins 10-6. Yeah, I could see that game, especially Peyton Thorne. I can't keep remembering if it's Thorne or Thorpe, but it's Thorne. But I'll tell you, I would take UL Monroe in this game on the road as an upset. All you need, take your 2 field goals for UL Monroe and say Peyton Thorne throws a pick 6 with 2 minutes left in the game. I could see that type of game happening. So, but JT's going War Eagle. All right. Well, I was wanting to pick Arkansas, but I just can't do that. But I do think that could be a tough game for Texas. But I'll take UL Monroe for the it's Thorne as in our sides. I will remember that, Small Time Republic. I will remember that. That's a great analogy. And I think JT Kirk is glad it's no longer a thorn in his side. So, really, Auburn's one of those teams that if it comes down to finding a quarterback to stabilize this program, imagine what Hugh Freeze would do if Lagway went. I will say, I love Lagway. I love what I've seen of him. But honestly, I would not have him in this Gator program. I would not have him in that Gator offense. He's got a big arm. I'd take him somewhere where there's a little more stability. Georgia's got a bad offensive line and kind of questionable receivers, but it's got to be better than Gainesville. But I'm just, my opinion again. Plus, also, I don't see the point of running a 2-yard passing offense if you got a guy with a cannon of an arm. But that's another program like Auburn. Get a quarterback, see what happens. But they've also found bad ways to lose some of these games. The Cal game at home, no offense after scoring 73 against a weak sister. Then they just offensive productions 14, 21, 13, 17, 10, 7. 24 in the win over Kentucky, and then 7 against Vanderbilt. Yeah, it's I share your pain, folks. And apparently Thorne is still hurt. He still has a shoulder injury. So, but I think it was well determined that the Thorne is the best chance for Auburn to win. But all right, 2 games that we're not going to waste time on. Murray State is at Kentucky, although Murray State is only 1-9, so Kentucky should get healthy in this game. We'll see if Brock Vandagriff can actually throw for more than 150 yards. The former Georgia quarterback. I wonder if Kirby Smart ever wished Vandagriff had stayed there to give Georgia a chance at behind Carson Beck. Mercer at Alabama. Okay, there you go, JT. You need to watch that game. Put yourself to sleep. Peyton Thorne, what a person to have on your roster. Yep, obviously. But I tell you, there was a game this year he looked good. At the Oklahoma game, he looked good till that last pick 6. But oh well. The rivalry game of the day: LSU at Florida for me. 22 ranked LSU comes into Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, Florida field. Florida obviously is down to the 3rd string quarterback. Although they keep talking like DJ Lagway will be back this week or could be back this week. Honestly, I'm like, shut him down. Hamstring injury, the way he was carted off against the Georgia Bulldogs. I don't know. I don't see Florida doing much with this game, even if Lagway plays. They're playing LSU. Now, LSU doesn't really have a good offense. But again, Napier play calling. Run. 3-yard pass. LSU is vulnerable deep and down the field. I don't understand why the Gator offense is so conservative. But then again, in this type of game, LSU's come in before, kicked Florida's butt pretty tough, pretty hard. Even when Florida had better teams and stuff. LSU comes in after that loss last week. I'm sure they're really wanting to put up some points. And I think this LSU offense can put points up on this Gators defense. Nussmeier does turn the ball over quite a bit, but then he makes up for it and they score. Like at South Carolina, they rallied, scored 36 points. Florida here, I'm telling you, Florida's defense is overrated. And this is one of my problems with the Gator program that's happened is that everybody's been to defend Napier. Oh, they've been getting better. And I've heard that on our local talk radio show repeatedly for weeks. Oh, they're getting better. Oh, they actually, you know what? I'm going to pull that up because I want to be specific with the games that they had recently, because the talk has been Florida got better after that Texas A&M game. Oh, let's keep Napier. Or that's a thing. And I've just seen the news. Lagway is expected to start versus LSU. Okay. I hope folks, I don't mean negative, but I've seen too many players come back from hamstring injuries too soon, and if his was a hamstring, like it was led to believe, and with the way he got carted off the field, if he plays, he should not be running the football. Let him use his daggum arm and throw it around. Now, you would like to see, I can't not cheer against my team. Especially at this point when they say it doesn't matter that the coach is going to be around next year. But I will tell you, they should not have him running the spread option and stuff, be mobile. Let him be a backup, pocket passing quarterback. Let him use that arm, come out and throw the ball 40 times. If you lose, you lose, whatever, or just regular handoffs, not the, you don't, I'm afraid with hamstrings, leg injuries, but especially as what we saw in the Georgia game. Let's see. Yeah, because what I want to say is after the Texas A&M loss, Florida goes on the road, beats Pitt State 45-28. Okay, big deal. It's Pitt State, okay? Yeah, they did exercise a demon on the road, but Mississippi State is the worst team in the conference. 0-6 in conference, 2-8 overall. Then they play at home to UCF and score big 24 points in the first half, but nothing in the second half. Then the debacle at Knoxville where they 3-0 lead when they should have been up 24-0, or at least 20-0 at halftime. Bad penalties, lose the game in overtime. As JT Kirk and I talked about, that was a case Florida probably should have gone for 2 in regulation, knowing all that was going on and how bad the night had been, but they didn't. See, that's why everybody's saying, well, the defense is getting better. Still gave it 28 to Mississippi State, but they're getting better. And then Tennessee, they just nearly lost, but they're getting better. They held Tennessee to 17 points. Then the next week holds Kentucky to 20 points. Okay. And then Georgia, they held Georgia to 20 points. Team that's been struggling. All these weeks leading into Texas game, it was, this team is doing better. Maybe give Napier more time, and it's okay. Listen. My mom is right. My mom had a saying, and I will say it like with your head football coach. If you get a bad feeling, if things are not working, I say you fire them. That's it. No, maybe not in all cases, but when you've seen like this after the A&M game, it should have been done, gone, goodbye. As embarrassing as those games were. But then you don't. They lag around, then they start getting in, leaks in, and they get better. That's like my mom always said about preachers. It's like if you get one around and it's going to fire them, you better fire them. Well, I think that with football coaches, because if you don't fire them when the getting's good, then, you ain't getting rid of them. And and of course, then last week, after all these people so positive and, we're having, because like I said, everybody has injuries this time of year. Everybody has got to fight through the injury bug. Look at Kentucky. Their team decimated, especially on defense with injuries. But, but they have a very solid coach that's just having another bad year. But he's actually proven himself in other years. But but then again, it's Kentucky football. You're happy going to a bowl game when you're Kentucky football. So that long-winded rant, though, just you just sit. You make the move. But this is a hated rivalry. This is a matchup. When it was the East West and the SEC, I did not like that they made LSU Florida's permanent opponent. I wanted Auburn as Florida's permanent opponent, but for whatever reason, they stuck us with LSU. It's a very evenly matched series. 34 wins for LSU, 33 for Florida, 3 ties over the years. Currently, LSU has won the last 5 games. Largest margin of victory with LSU in 1971, 48-7. Longest win streak for LSU is 5 games. Florida's largest was not during the Tim Tebow years. It was during the head ball coach's years. 1993, 58-3. And Florida won 9 from just before Spurs' arrival on till, that 96 championship game. So, you can see how this series goes. There's a lot of swings in this series. The series dates back to 1937. And you know what's interesting? I think I was probably at this game in 1978. 34-21 LSU won. I believe I was. So it's either. I don't think it was 80 because Florida did not win. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, it was probably that game there because it wasn't when Florida won, and I definitely wouldn't have remembered that 2 or 3. But because I remember being there with my dad and my uncle at that game. It was a lot different stadium back there. It had wrought iron fences, had bricks in the north end zone. We just walked down to the field level for our seats. It was really, really, really good game. Great memory. So this, on paper, this should be a good game, but it's not going to be. I look for LSU to walk away with this one fairly easily. Even though it's on 3:30 on the ABC, I don't. I think LSU's offense is going to dominate Florida's defense like Texas did. Between running, they've got great running backs at LSU. Between running and Nussmeier's throwing, Florida's defense is not going to be able to keep up with them. Even though Cormani McLean is a 5-star that transferred from Colorado, he's playing more these days. He fell down the other day against Texas, and not good. Yeah, LSU. Yep, LSU in this game. I agree with you, small town Republic, and I think it's going to get ugly. I maybe if Lagway plays, they have a chance, but it just depends on how he is, how he's doing. One other game I'm not going to spend time on is New Mexico State at Texas A&M. Texas A&M leading the SEC should win that game. The last game I'm going to talk about is the game of the week in this. Number 7 Tennessee at number 12 Georgia. The Volunteers go into Athens, one of the most beautiful stadiums I've ever seen and been in. They actually had gates open where we could, in the summer, we can go down there and get pictures at the top deck looking down on the field. It was really a nice stadium to see. Carson Beck is the key to this game. What kind of quarterback play will Georgia get to this game? Is it the same that threw 3 picks against Texas and Florida, and then another one last week against Ole Miss? Or will he get on track being at home? Question marks in this game is Nico for Tennessee. He is left last week's game, as I said earlier, what they described as an upper body injury, which this week I've heard on their radio stations was more of a concussion issues. I've heard that he's taking first team reps, so it looks like he should be playing, but they really don't know for sure until the team makes the trip, and then we'll find out for sure. This should be a good game, hopefully. But I tell you, if Tennessee does not have Nico, I think Aston Moore might do okay. I mean, I think he's a senior. He knows Josh Heupel's offense, having been with him since UCF 6 years ago. Georgia's Carson Beck looks bad. I mean, it's like ever since he went his girlfriend started showing pictures on social media. It's like gone downhill, and people have actually picked up on that whole thing. Yeah, you can't explain it. They have Trevor Etienne. They got great running backs. Georgia does, but the question marks on the line, being able to block and protect back, and at receiver. Georgia does not have the dominating wide receivers they had a few years ago. In this series, it's another rivalry game. Georgia leads all-time series 28-23. Georgia has won 7 games in a row with 2 ties in here. Tennessee's largest margin of victory was 46-0 in 1936. 9-game winning streak for Tennessee in the Phil Fulmer era from 89 to 99. Georgia's large. Why does Georgia beat everybody 44-0? That's a daggum score of hell from Gator fans. 1981. That's probably the same year they beat Florida 44-0. And Georgia's won 7 games in a row between 17 and 23. So as we look at this series and look how far it dates back, Georgia, as it says, won the last 7. Tennessee won 2. Georgia won the 5 before it. And then there's a times in the like you said, the long Tennessee winning streak there. This game first played 1899. Oh my gosh, how about that? 1899 and 1903 at the bottom. Tennessee wins 5-0, and Georgia wins 5-0. Both games were played in Knoxville, Tennessee, too. Wow. Talk about baseball. Baseball scores with this. But it's going to be a fun game, I think, this week with that game. It's a 7:30 game on ESPN. Keys to the game: Georgia, can they get on track running the ball better, more consistently? That has been another feature that's been missing this year, is a consistent run game in their games. I think that they've they did not run as well as I thought they would against Florida a couple weeks ago. And against Ole Miss on the road, Georgia ran for a whopping 59 yards on 33 carries. Nate Frazier, the freshman, had 47 yards. Trevor Etienne had 24. But still a long way from the traditional dominating Georgia running games. Let's see. Against Florida, Georgia miraculously won. Like I said, let's see. Go the box score there. In the Florida game, Georgia threw for 309 yards, but still 3 picks. But they did run for 146 against Florida. Nate Frazier had some games, mostly in the second half. Because remember, this game was a 13-6 Florida lead at halftime. Then Georgia started asserting its dominance in the second half, which is what I expect to happen with LSU Florida. So, can Georgia get the run game going at home against Tennessee? For Tennessee, a big key is, can they get Dylan Sampson productive early and often to take off pressure off Nico or Gaston Moore, whoever the starter may be. It should be a fun game. Let's hope we have another Squirrel White sighting. One of the greatest names in SEC history that I've ever heard. So if y'all have any thoughts, feel free to share on any of these games. This game, let's see. Let me get back to this. Let me get back to the schedules and let me recap the picks I'm taking in these games real quick. Let's see. Here we go. There. Let's see. Okay, I'm taking Texas over Arkansas, but I have a bad feeling about that one. I do think the Pigs could get lucky. The Pigs could get lucky. Texas has been dinged up. They've had their warts this year at times, so let's see what happens there. And they, barely beat Vanderbilt on the road. I'm taking UL Monroe to upset Auburn. Sorry, my Auburn friends. It'll probably be a game where y'all have a good breakout production. Of course, that's probably then like, why can't we do it against Alabama or somebody else? So Murray State will lose that Kentucky, Mercer, and Alabama. Alabama will win that one easily. I think LSU wins at Florida big. unless DJ Lagway plays. If DJ Lagway plays, the game could be a little bit more competitive. But I do look for LSU to win comfortably. Maybe tight early, but I think going away in the second half, kind of like the Georgia game, because Florida's defense can only do so much, and they can be hammered up the middle on the running game if you have patience with it. A lot of teams that aren't patient, but then again, the secondary is crap too. It's not as good as they've said, and then that's an area where Florida has been injured. They're without both starting cornerbacks. One of the best is gone for the year because of shoulder issues, and oh, there we go. Misery at South Carolina. I'm taking South Carolina at home. The good Gamecocks show up. Misery down to backup quarterback. I just don't see them playing in Columbia very well. That's a tough place to play too. Some rabid fans there. Texas A&M over New Mexico State. And in the game of the week, Tennessee at Georgia. Like I said last Saturday night, I'm going for Tennessee to win the SEC. I'm cheering for them to win the SEC, and then I want them to win the national championship because no Alabama, no Georgia, no, and I want an SEC team. But I got to go with my head keeps telling me Georgia at home, and I'll take stake with Georgia at home. Georgia's had its problems on offense, but they are at home. They are between the hedges. Tennessee has had rough games offensively at home and on the road. Dylan Sampson can only carry so much. Nico and whatever quarterback's got to be able to throw the ball better, be more productive with this offense. And I tell you, listening to the fans up there, they have struggled. The fans are not happy. It's not your traditional Josh Heupel score 40 points a game and just like, but they have a great defense. That's what will keep them in this game at Georgia, is that the fact that they have a defense as good as theirs. Can they force Carson Beck to make more mistakes this week? Probably, very likely. But the head says to take Georgia at home. Just have to, the good old head. Head tells you what is what keeps you out of trouble. So, but yeah, I could see Tennessee winning this game too. Although I'm jealous because my kids got tickets. Yeah, I think they switched with somebody to get tickets for it. I remember they sent me pictures 2 years ago. They were sitting in the student section right behind the like an aisle over, but right behind the Tennessee band. They said they were great seats. So, all right. So Small Town Republic's taking LSU against Florida. JT Kirk's taking Rocky Top over Georgia. Wow. And Texas. Wow. Okay. Wow. That is interesting. Any other final picks before I start to close down, or see if there's any other stories? Talked about Napier being safe for now. Ole Miss, if you don't remember, had been warned. All the schools have been warned about cutting out the fake injury stuff to get timeouts. That's from a couple weeks ago. Let's see. That's it for news in the SEC that I know. Take one last look thing here. Let's see with that. But hopefully y'all have a good week. Hopefully, it's so funny. Hopefully we've been able to enjoy the football season to a degree. I mean, hard to believe we only have three more weeks now. I mean, it's just amazing how fast the seasons turn and go. Oi, do you studying? Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah. Oh gosh. Oh yeah. Well, here's a story we can talk about. Not because you showed up studying, but yeah, it's. But yeah, there's a story. The Georgia game apparently a couple weeks ago, the Texas Longhorns had to submit a report to the SEC after the trash throwing delay in the Georgia game. Apparently, Texas fans did not like a pass interference call to the point where the whole the field was pummeled with all kind of stuff, and then they ended up overturning the call. They ended up deciding not to throw the flag. So it's like, wait, what? I guess it just says throw no, you're not supposed to throw stuff on that. So, but it's interesting how they did they did waive off the penalty though. So, of course, we got this. Of course, they the UT. I love the way this happens. Oh gosh, from MSN.com. The university and the coach Sarkisian for Texas disavowed the actions of the fans after Matthew McConaughey chimed in. His country, what? Stay out of it, Hollywood. Come on, man. But it's like they said they would use all available means to identify those who threw debris and remove the students' ticket privileges for the remainder of the year. But apparently the letter to the league commissioner Sankey, the UT Police Department and game operations staff could not identify anyone who threw debris on the field. Oh, go figure that. Wow. Ooh. So they will have, since installed cameras directed at the student section, increased law enforcement and event personnel to more closely monitor those areas, and have adopted other measures to identify and penalize any future attendee who attempts to disrupt a game. Go figure that. Yeah. Okay. Kind of timing convenient, isn't it? But they paid the fine. But anyway, so just, and of course they said after beating Florida, they don't have one home game left, and they may get also may host a first round game in college football playoff. Yeah, good luck identifying you with a glass of mustache disguise. Absolutely. Let's see. That was a reason. That's a news story. I'm glad we got a chance to talk about that. But yeah, you don't throw crap on the field, no matter how mad you are, and you don't do like Mississippi did. Old Piss again. Like I said, wait till zeros are on the clock before you start to leave the stands if you're going to storm the field. By the way, Ole Miss got a $350,000 fine for little news that Trevor Etienne has been ruled out for the game for Georgia against Tennessee. I don't think that affects Georgia too bad because they do have the Frazier, who's a freshman, who's a very speedy, durable back. So he will be out in that for that matchup. So looking around, trying to see any other headlines from the league. At least it wasn't $1 hot dog night. Yes, I've heard about that from Philadelphia. And hey, Chewy, what's happening? Well, I'm about to get ready to wrap up for a bit. Might go live again on the YouTube side for some Fortnite. I don't know. I'm trying to see what I'm going next, but we just talked about the week in the SEC. And good to see you again. Which team do you follow, Chewy? I forgot. So, but yeah, we talked about the big games this week. You got LSU at Florida. You got Tennessee, of course, at Georgia, which is really big in terms of standings for the. Wow. All right. Let's see. You want it. You want it. Let me see if I get this down. We have actually, there is an article from CBSSports.com. Convoluted tiebreaker scenarios threaten chaos for conference title. College football places. So and it says the SEC's second place logjam is just one of several potential messy pitfalls in the Power Four conference title races. Wow. All right. In this article, it's going ahead and saying, let's go ahead. Georgia beats Tennessee. Texas beats Texas A&M. Then the Longhorns will finish in sole possession of first place in the SEC as the only 7-1 team on the board. Easy ticket for them to punch. I thought you were LSU. Yeah. Yes, might be a sneaky good game. Yeah. Well, they do, and that's what we're going to talk about this with the two losses. If they can keep winning with two losses, they need Alabama to lose. Anybody that beat them, Georgia. Well, no, it's just at least you had a loss to Vandy. You're not tied with Vandy, but if you have Bama lose again, which could happen possibly, but I hope you're right as a Florida fan, Chewy. I don't look for it. Lagway is supposed to be back, but I don't know how effective he will be with the leg injury after the Georgia game. And what kind of offense Florida will run. I look for Nussmeier and the running game to really feast on the Gator defense. So I think, like I said earlier, I'm looking at it. It could be close for a while, but then I look for LSU to pull away in the second half. Nussmeier, I mean, he may throw a few picks, but he's going to torch that Gator secondary. And Florida's weak running on defense, running again. When you get rolling, like against Texas, when Texas got started, there was no stopping. But hey, and LSU's won 5 games in a row in the series, so it's a big game to a lot of people. So absolutely. But good to have you here on the Twitch side. Thank you. Good to see you tonight again. I'm at a weird time tonight. I think going forward for the next couple of weeks, it will be back on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Just the stuff, like I said, stuff this month has been jumbled up with a lot of stuff, and this next week's got a lot of personal stuff. So things are just in flux. But hey, good to have all of y'all with us tonight. So, okay, so we're going to assume with this situation, Texas is 7-1, the only one with 1 loss. Okay, assuming no other upsets, 6 teams would then be tied for number 2 in the SEC standings. And let me see. Let me do something here. Let me stop that. I don't want something playing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring this back up. So LSU fans are concerns for the Tigers finish season strong, but doubts are not on team. But picture because past weekend included. Yeah, exactly. I tell you what, though, I'll trade head coaches with you. But yeah, it's yeah, exactly. You want the recruits to come in. But I will tell you though, yeah, it was. They ran into a buzzsaw that Alabama got hot though, so I think one game like that won't run off a player. Actually, even though they lost, they probably see the partying down there, and everything else, and how crazy it is. Could do a good job. It still could attract them. So let me see here with this. Let's do this. Let's bring this up. But yeah, always that's a case of looking the future is a good thing. Okay, what the article talks about. Assuming no other upsets, 6 teams would be tied for number 2 in the SEC standings with a 6-2 record. Texas A&M, Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, LSU, Missouri. So the tiebreaker scenarios: head-to-head competition among the tied teams. Most of the teams haven't played each other. Next. Record versus common conference opponents. There aren't common opponents between 6 teams. Record against the highest placed opponent among the tied teams. There aren't enough common opponents to use this. Cumulative conference winning percentage of all conference opponents. Essentially, which teams have the top conference strength of schedule. Since the tiebreaker would almost certainly come down to the final strength of schedule, it's impossible to know which team is even in the driver's seat right now. Assuming the nightmare tiebreaker scenario plays out. Oh, JT Kirk! No! Who would have the narrow edge and strength of schedule? Alabama. Georgia would play most of the top teams, but its schedule would be pulled down by Kentucky, Auburn, and Pitt State. Wow. Just face it, JT. You can't get away from teams you hate. Exactly. Wow. And by the way, if Texas A&M beats Texas, it holds sole possession of first place in the SEC. Longhorns, the highest ranked team in the SEC, would miss out on playing for a title to Alabama because they had Arkansas on their schedule instead of Missouri. JT, you're not going to get away from Alabama. Wow. Does that make sense? Then think so. My head hurts too. Well, my friend JT Kirk's head is probably exploding. It shouldn't require a law degree to determine whether your team is alive for an SEC championship. Welcome to the new world of Super Leagues. Why don't you just go out and throw a six-sided die? But all four power conferences will face similar challenges as they try to slide to the top two of at least 16 teams in a title game. By the way, the confusion about reaching a conference championship game will only be magnified in the expanded college football playoff era where teams are only eligible for first-round byes with a title. Deciding trips to the playoff could come down to interpreting technical language in a conference press release. As often happens, the Big 12 got the first taste of the confusion last year. Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, and Kansas State were projected to finish with identical 7-2 records. The Cowboys beat both teams head-to-head, but OU and K-State did not play. Still, the Big 12 clarified that beating both teams counted as clinching the head-to-head tiebreaker in that scenario. Hey, good night, Snortopoopus. Good night. I do want to talk about this. I'm going to come back to that in just a second, Chewy, okay? I do want to come back to that real quick after I'm done with this. Luckily for the conference, K-State lost, leaving head-to-head available for Oklahoma State to beat Oklahoma for the spot in the championship game. Now, Oklahoma State's at the bottom of the Big 12 this year. Losing out the opportunity to play for Big 12 title ultimately knocked the Sooners out of the New Year's Six. Had that taken place this year, it would have been the difference between making and missing the 12-team playoff field. These things matter. The entire CFP case of teams like LSU or SMU could hinge on tiebreakers. So there for you LSU fans there too, or SMU based, if they lose, which I don't think they will. I think looking at it, they should be in their championship game with Pittsburgh losing last week. At least in previous large conferences. See, this is the thing. This is the thing about having divisional setups where you have common opponents. You can establish head-to-heads and things like that. But the teams would play consistently. It meant there was true identity and rivalry between a collection of squads that really knew each other. Again, the big jumble. I mean, how often you get to play these teams? It's now every 4 or 5 years if you're lucky. If the SEC had divisions in 2024 with 8-game conference schedule, would leave only one game available to play cross-division every year. Obviously, that's not palatable. That doesn't even get into leagues of 17 or 18 teams. Well, my thing is they should have 9 conference games. But anyway, so still, this article goes on to say you could approach it by having pods. Those some guarantee of mutual opponents. It may be worth simply having separate divisions, living with the consequences, even if most teams will never play. Of course, the SEC should really step in 21st century and schedule 9 conference games, which would help matters. But ultimately, there's only so much leagues can do with far too many members and limiting unifying identity. So the college football playoff expanded and changed its rules to emphasize the value of conference championships. We're about to find out in the coming weeks. Struggles by conference create very serious ways to decide the champion will make everything much more complicated. See, I've seen that, but I will tell you that I heard the sports animal in Knoxville today. They were talking and some frustrations, and Alabama was cited in that it's not your strength of schedule; it's that you're winning games. That the things with the 12-team playouts, it's looking like in future scenarios, it's you winning your games. Alabama was cited from people like Tennessee or Georgia, they lose again. Big 12 was specifically mentioned, like Indiana, Penn State, 2 teams that have had a weak schedule. How many ranked teams have either one of those teams played? I look at Penn State. They wet the bed again, playing Ohio State again, Unfortunately, James Franklin can't win the big game. Indiana, love that story. It's like Vanderbilt. Yay, there's new blood. But honestly, they really didn't play anybody this year. So you got all these dynamics that are working in the back. So if there's a tie for second, grab the popcorn, pull up the chair, and wait for the fireworks, because it might be like a presidential election results. You never know where the way this is going. I got left out. No, I got left out. I should be in. I should be in. I'm just saying among 6 teams, 5 or 6 teams. Go figure. Go figure. So, oh, you're talking about Bama giving really good seats in Skybox and free food. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because especially with 16 teams, you got 15 others, and you know you're going to lose your rivalries. I know that was talked about last year. Tennessee was going to lose somebody. We don't know if Florida Tennessee will play next year, and I love playing Tennessee. I always hated them, and it's a great rivalry game. But yeah, so we're going to see if some of those classic matchups will not get to play as they had in the past. Chewy said, I know it's a conversation for another day, but this QB had made a visit, has Michigan also on his short list. I think JT would. Okay, JT, do you want this quarterback to go to play for Kelly, or do you want him to play for Michigan? By the way, Chewy, our friend JT Kirk here is a big Michigan State fan in the Big 12, Big 10. LSU has issues on its O-line with run blocking, so any mobile quarterback and good running backs will have a hard time having success. Yeah, but you know what? Hopefully it goes there. I mean, the one thing is your offense. Kelly throws the ball around the field. He's got a more pro-style offense. Look, you never say never, because I'll tell you, you watch. I've seen Michigan play this year, and I don't know if you've seen many Michigan games. It's about as bad as a Billy Napier run offense in terms of the originality of the offense, the play designs. It's really heavy run dominant, and they don't even know who their quarterback is. They've been rotating them all year. So I wouldn't put it down. I mean, LSU to me offers a lot more than Michigan does. I mean, especially with coaching. I know JT does not like Kelly, but Kelly is a much better coach than what they have at Michigan nowadays. Send them to LSU. Okay. There you go. Well, it'll make Chewy happy, so that's always good. All right, folks. Well, I think we will end it with there. We had some news stories. So, hey, 3 weeks left in the season. Next week is probably going to suck big time because usually the week before Thanksgiving, there are very few conference games, or that's when people play the weak sisters of the poor, the paycheck games. So I'll come back next Wednesday at 8. It may be a quick show. We'll talk news. I don't know. Maybe we'll kick some other stuff around. We'll see. I'm just going to look ahead. Week 13. Let's see what's in the SEC next week. Let's see. Okay, the following week, Texas A&M, Auburn, Vanderbilt, LSU. Okay, there's some decent. Ole Miss, Florida. Oh, I forgot. See, 12 noon. See, that's where Lane Kiffin was mad about these noon games. Once again, 12 noon, even though they're the road team, 11 a.m. in Oxford. Great. UMass at Georgia, UTEP at Tennessee, Kentucky at Texas, Wofford, South Carolina, Louisiana Tech, Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi State, Alabama, Oklahoma. Imagine that. Alabama, Oklahoma, one time in history would have been like gold, but they stuck that at 7:30. See, okay, this is Lane Kiffin's point, and you might not have been here, Chewy, and I'm going to go back to this. I'm sorry. I'm just, it's a squirrel stream. Everything I do is squirreling. You got Ole Miss, Florida that week at 12 o'clock, which forces them to play at 11. Now, granted, Alabama, Oklahoma, oh my God, really? Kentucky at Texas in the 3:30 slot? This is why Lane Kiffin has merit to what he says. This team, Ole Miss, has had to play so many 12 o'clock early games that are 11 o'clock local. It's ridiculous. They couldn't get the 3:30 slot against Florida, which that could have, on paper, could have been a good, entertaining matchup. Kentucky at Texas is no. That's going to be over in the first quarter. Kentucky has no offense this year. They're decimated on defense. But see, once again, Lane Kiffin's team stuck at 12 against a decent opponent. I mean, at least 3:30, okay? Granted, Alabama and Oklahoma. Oklahoma's bad, but okay, there's something in the name. But Ole Miss, Florida should have either been 3:30 or 7:30. One or the other. Yeah. So, Oh yeah, it's to be determined. I see that to be determined. SEC Network, heck to the yes. Well, hopefully so. They gotta fit it in there somewhere. Probably 7:45 as usual, because that's usually when they do that game. All right. So sorry, folks. I had a little squirrel rambling right there, but we talked about that as an issue earlier. With Lane Kiffin's complaints with the league, it bears it out once again. Stuck that early game. But hey, folks, on that note, I'm going to say goodnight. I should be going live tomorrow night, planning on it at 10 o'clock for I don't know what it'll be, whatever it is. Late night with me, and I'll see if I have some people on and just see what kind of stuff we get into. At 10 o'clock tomorrow night, it'll be on YouTube and on Twitch. I'm probably going to maybe do some Fortnite in about 10 or 15 minutes. That will be on YouTube only. If you not follow me on YouTube, please go over there, give me a like over there and subscribe over there. And of course, the misses also. JT, if you could put the misses link in there for me, please, real quick. I'm just taking last thing as I am wrapping this up. But I appreciate everybody while y'all are here, and I appreciate the engagement and the feedback from everybody. I enjoyed talking football and look for and remember 8 o'clock Saturday night. I will be back with another scoreboard show. Hopefully, it will work out where JT is able to join me. And we do take a look around the league, around the country, not just the SEC. So, um, it's been a fun show to have on Saturday nights. And actually, I've been told a time or two the people were looking for it, and unfortunately, life got in the way, and I could not do it those nights. But yep, there you go. Yep, thank you for putting that out there. Yeah, so next Friday night, JT will have Tennessee at Georgia going on. We'll have Tennessee, Georgia going on at 8 o'clock. So interesting. Tickets as low as $230. Wow. Of course, I think we won't be worried about New Mexico State at Texas A&M. But, you can vouch why Ole Miss is not on late window. Part of it has to do with loss against Kentucky. They have won an OT against LSU, or had they won, maybe they have another night game. Yeah, but still, when you sit there and look at Kentucky, you're putting Kentucky in the 3:30 slot. I mean, with Kentucky's bad offense, Vandergriff is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, and Kentucky is not the defense that it had been in recent years. You do have to. I don't know. I agree. Those losses count against you. Especially that loss to Kentucky was a very bad loss for Ole Miss. That's one I know I didn't see coming because, like I said, I had Georgia and Ole Miss in the SEC championship game, and I don't think I'm going to get either one. But hey, it's okay. You know why? Because I like seeing Tennessee. I like to see some new bloods in there. I just wish Texas. JT, has the problem with Alabama. I have the problem with Texas. I hate Texas. I hate Austin. I hate. Just. They need to go back in the dumpster where they were for a long time in terms of football. But hey, like I said, if you want positivity, not an old man grumpy growling around, check out the Mrs. channel on YouTube at Mrs. Dadman Walking. She does her daily show of positivity at 10 a.m. Eastern every Monday to Friday. And then occasionally, like tonight before my stream, she was doing a build stream. Let me do something really quickly, Mrs., unless you can beat me to it. Mrs. is also on Twitch. Let me get that Twitch link for her, and I will put that out because I know that you're on Twitch, Chewy. And for anybody else that has Twitch accounts, Mrs. is actually monetized over on the Twitch side. So you can actually subscribe if you see fit, if you like the content and want to support her. Or she's got her Ko-Fi account, and yeah, yeah. So I only say it because StreamYards is what we use. She said it's the best than anything else, and they just went up on us. And things cost, and we appreciate any support that we can get. Let's see. Let's see. And Mrs. Dadman Walking 55 is my wife. Let's see. Hear her hopefully if I play Fortnite, or sometimes you might hear tomorrow night or on other things. But there is the Twitch link for y'all. And howdy, lemon pie. Hello. Like abbreviated it, but Anybody, any of y'all, make sure you follow her on Twitch. Hey, Lemon Pie, good to see you. I think I'm going to be doing some Fortnite in a few minutes. So if you want to join me for that, I will be doing that. We're wrapping up for football, but thanks for saying hi, Lemon Pie. And yeah, B from O, she does a great job as well. Yeah, nothing like hearing her laugh her butt off, especially when I work from home and she shows one of those memes and she just starts laughing. I've actually had to walk out there before to check on her and make sure she was okay. So, because she just starts giggling herself. But all right, well, folks, thank you for everybody in there. Make sure you subscribe to us here on the YouTube's channel. Let's get back over the 670 mark. We're at 661. Follow us on Twitch. Join us for everything we do, whether it's Fortnite, late night stream like tomorrow night at 10. And you guys mean a lot. Thank you for your support. It's going to be a busy week here, so streaming still will be hit or miss at times, but certain things are maybe coming to an end where I can get back onto a normal schedule. And I know the missus will be happy for that. On that note, folks, y'all have a good evening. We'll see you again. If I don't Fortnite or if y'all are busy, thank you again for being here tonight and enjoyed the football talk tonight. Join me next Wednesday night at 8 p.m. when we will talk SEC, but join me at 8 o'clock on Twitch and YouTube as we talk about the games of the day and look around the country. All right, take care, everybody. I hope to see you if I stream. Bye.